Guys, so I really just wanted to get on here and make a quick video, just because this morning in particular, I definitely felt a lot of scriptures kind of come to my mind, and as I was kind of talking to Father about them and things like that, just when he brings things to mind, there's usually a reason, and he's trying to get you to think about it and things like that. And so, mostly for me this morning, it was definitely the parable of the 10 virgins. And as I was talking to him about this and talking about what I think this means and everything like that, then a few more scriptures came to mind, and I was like, so you want me to kind of talk about this? And then he brought Ezekiel 33 to mind, which I'll read at the end, which you'll understand. So I'm just going to quickly go through the verses that, he was putting in my head, and then talk a little bit as I'm going about some similarities between these verses and why these verses in particular I have chosen, that have been in my head really. So I'm just going to go through quickly now. Some of it I'll read and some of it I won't read. I will give you the verses, so obviously you guys can go back and read the verses all for yourself. Like, the other thing as well is, you don't pick and choose verses. So like, go back and read, like if I don't read the whole chapter, go back and read the whole chapter. Like, I'm just gonna pick out some things specifically, but always read things in context, which involves doing the whole, reading the whole thing. I'm just not going to do it for the sake of time, because I don't really have any time today to do it. So I'm just going to quickly go through a couple of scriptures. Now, first of all, I won't go through the parable of the 10 virgins, which is in Matthew 25, verses 1 to 13. Now, I think I've gone through this parable, I think at least twice in my videos, and that's why I won't do it again today. And besides, I hope that most of you actually know this by now, because the parable of the 10 virgins, pretty important. So definitely I had that going through my head this morning. Now, and I think the important part that really stuck out for me, in the parable of the 10 virgins, just let me double check. I haven't got all the scriptures in front of me, that's why, so just give me 2 seconds to go back to Matthew 25. What I really wanted to point out, mainly, my husband's trying to call me. What I really wanted to point out in specific was verse 11, where it says, Adonai, Adonai, open up for us. So the 5 foolish virgins, so they were saying to Jesus, they were saying, Master, Master. I mean, I think that's incredibly important, because these foolish virgins, they thought they were saved. They thought they were saved. So, when I was kind of thinking about this, I'm like, they were calling him Master. I think the tares or the foolish virgins, I think truly that they do believe that they're saved, but they're not. I think that's a very important point that I really wanted to talk about. And I do think that. I think that they all think they're saved. Like, and that's the thing. Like, especially with these, there's a doctrine. There's a doctrine, and I think it's Catholicism, where they say once saved, always saved, and I think they try to push that a little bit in Christianity too. The once saved, always saved, and I don't believe that. I don't believe you can be saved and then I don't believe that works. And I think in the parable of the 10 virgins, it kind of says that, that even though they thought they were serving Jesus, they weren't. And the main emphasis I wanted to say is the next verse is also verse 12, which he says, I don't know you, where are you from? to the foolish virgins. He says, I do not know you. And then I wanted to read Matthew 7 verses 21 to 23, because I think it's very similar in a way. It says, not everyone who says to me, Adonai, Adonai. So these people were calling him master as well, the same as in the parable of the 10 virgins. They were calling him master, master. So not everyone who says to me, Adonai, Adonai, have we not Navu, which means prophesies, in your name, and cast out demons in your name, and done many works in your name? Like, have we not done all these things for you? And I think that's very prominent, because they're saying these things which, I mean, I can't say that I've ever cast out a demon or anything like that. Like, these are amazing things, you know what I mean? Like, that most of us maybe even wouldn't have done. So I think it's important to point out that gifts, just because you have the gifts of the spirits, also doesn't mean you're saved. Like, because you can do these things, just because you can prophesy or anything like that, doesn't actually mean that you're saved. Even, there's yelling next door. Okay. And even if you have the Holy Spirit, or once again, like, you don't, just because you think you're saved doesn't mean that you are saved. But anyway, and then, Yeshua goes on, Jesus goes on and says, and then I shall declare to them, I never knew you. Depart from me, you who work lawlessness. So I think that I picked that up actually maybe a week ago, that I thought those two were quite similar in nature, in that in both of them, they're both calling Yeshua master, like these servants, the wicked servants, the foolish virgins. They are calling him master in both of these sections. And he also says in both of them, I do not know you, or I never knew you. So in both of these things, they think that they're good servants, and he says, I don't know you, I don't know you. You're not, you're calling me master, but you're not. And that's because Yeshua says, you call me master, but you don't do the things that I ask you to do, And I think the important part there is he actually gives us kind of an answer when he says, I never knew you, depart from me, you who work lawlessness. So that's the reason right there, because they're working lawlessness. I won't go too much into that, and I don't want to get into that today either. But then, I think very importantly, another parable that Yeshua gives us is the parable of the wheat and the tares. Now, I'm not going to actually read the parable. It's in Matthew chapter 13, verses 18 through to 30, because I really want this to be a quick video. So basically, I'm just going to read the explanation of the parable. So you guys need to go back and read the parable for yourself. Just go over it anyway, even if you know it. But in verse 36, the disciples ask him to explain what he's saying. And in verses 37 through to 42, he's explaining the parable of the wheat and the tares. Okay, and Yeshua says, and he answering said to them, he who is sowing the good seed is the bane of Adam, or Yeshua, and the field is the world. And the good seed, these are the sons of the rain. So these are the children of Elohim, or the children of God. So these are the people that are of the kingdom, okay? But the darnel, also known as the tares, are the sons of the wicked one, so Satan. And the enemy who sowed them is the devil. And the harvest is the end of the age, and the reapers are the messengers or angels. Okay, so the important part here is in verses 40 through to 42. And he says, as the darnel, or the tares, then is gathered and burned with fire, so it shall be at the end of the age. The bane of Adam shall send out his messengers, and they shall gather out of his reign all the stumbling blocks and those doing lawlessness, and shall throw them into the furnace of fire. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. Now, I think it's funny, a few times through the book of Matthew and possibly through the other Gospels as well. When Yeshua talks about the false converts or the Darnel or the tares, or the foolish virgins, those who are a part of the body but aren't actually the sons of Elohim, that aren't the good seed, And in the parable of the wheat and the tares, it's saying that we don't know who the real Christians. I won't even say Christians. We don't know who the true believers are. We don't know who the true ones are, and everyone's going to look the same until the end of the age, and then we're going to know. We will be able to see those that are His, and it'll become obvious who the real believers are and who the ones that aren't, who are the wheat and who are the tares. Basically, and I think it's important in the last bit of that. It says, He will gather out of His reign, take out all of those that are stumbling blocks and those doing lawlessness, and shall throw them into the fire. But I think I missed what I was saying when I said, when it's talking about the false converts, I feel like he does say there's wailing and gnashing of teeth, or weeping and gnashing of teeth. I think this is particularly talking about not non-believers or anything like that. I think it's talking about the false believers, the ones that think they are. I believe that these believers do think they're saved. I believe that. So, and I think that's why Paul says, examine yourself to see if you are in the faith, because I think there's a lot of false converts. I think there's a lot of people that say or think, really truly believe that they're saved. They really truly believe that they're following Yeshua. And, they may be prophesying and they may be doing all these wonderful things, and still not be saved. And I think that's extremely important. Now, I don't really want to go into my opinion on lawlessness and stuff right now, because I could talk for a long time about that. I really don't want to, and I don't feel like Abba wants me to talk about that right now either. So I think it's something you guys need to pray about. And when I was kind of asking Abba, okay, so you want me to talk about this, and I felt an urgency, like I think I need to do it today. I knew I needed to do it today, even though I'm busy. And isn't that always the way? And I really didn't want to do this video, but He seems to ask us to do things when we're just not prepared and don't have the time. And I guess so. It's a trial. I mean, everything's a trial, But I said, oh, okay, because He gave me Ezekiel 33, and I was like, oh, okay, I really need to do this. So I'll just read that quickly through for you guys. Ezekiel 33 verses 1 to 7. And the word of Yahweh came to me, saying, Son of man, speak to the children of your people, and you shall say to them, When I bring the sword upon a land, and the people of the land shall take a man from their borders, and shall make him their watchman, and he shall see the sword coming upon the land, and shall blow the ram's horn, and shall warn the people. Then whoever shall hear the sound of the ram's horn, and shall not take warning, if the sword comes and takes him away, his blood is on his own head. He heard the sound of the ram's horn, but he did not take warning. His blood is on himself. But he who takes warning shall deliver his being. But if the watchman sees the sword coming and does not blow the ram's horn, and the people shall not be warned, and the sword comes and takes any being from among them, he is taken away in his wickedness, and his blood I shall require at the watchman's hand. So I actually felt quite a while ago now, I think before I even started doing these videos, I felt like I had been appointed a watchman, and I felt like Abba had appointed me a watchman, Oh, I didn't even read verse 7, sorry. And you, son of man, I have made you a watchman for the house of Israel, and you shall hear a word from my mouth, and you shall warn them for me. verse 7, that's exactly what I was about to say anyway. I feel like he has made me a watchman, and I think when he wants me to say something or talk about something or even warn on his behalf, he tells me that I should be warning people. I feel like I have to do it. I mean, I didn't want to make this video, but then after he gave me Ezekiel 33, I'm like, oh, I really have to do it. So I mean, look, I don't know everything. I don't know why. I just do what I'm told, and I try to be as obedient as possible. I feel like in my spirit, we're about to really understand the parable of the 10 virgins, like sooner than any of us think. And I think, I used to think all 10 virgins were saved. When I first, when Abba first gave me that parable. But the more and more I study it, the more and more I think all the parables, the parable of 10 virgins, the wheat and the tares, like all the parables that Yeshua gives us, I believe they all carry the same message, that it's all about, they're all believers, or all believers, I believe that all of them think they're saved, all the tares think they're saved. I believe that they're in the body, um, you know, but I think that the tares and the foolish virgins, I think they're not saved. I think we're only going to know when it's harvest time, and I think the harvest is coming a lot sooner than we realize. And when we talk about the harvest, you got to look at when the Bible's talking about the harvest of the end of the age. I think it's talking about the harvest of grapes and stuff, because he talks a lot about treading the wine press and the grapes of wrath and things like that. And I think Abba's kind of telling us what time of year that the harvest and I guess the end of the age and the wrath and all that is going to actually take place. And I think it's going to be around this time of the year. I'm not saying it's this year. I have absolutely no idea. It could be in next year or the year after or the year after. I don't know. But all I do know, and I don't know whether we're going to be here for it or not. I don't think so. I really don't think so. But I reserve the right to be wrong about everything. I'm obedient. If Abba tells me to talk about something, I'm going to talk about something. What I feel in my spirit personally is that, it's just a lot sooner than we think. So I'm just asking you guys to be prepared no matter which way anything goes. And I feel like I am a watchman, and I feel like I had to just talk about this for whatever reason. Only Abba knows everything that's going to happen in what order and everything. But pray, never be afraid. Perfect love casts out all fear. So I just pray for all of you, and I pray that you're all well, and I pray that we're all pressing in at the moment. Pray without ceasing, and just keep reading your Bible, and just keep talking to him and ask him to give you wisdom and understanding about the parables and his word, because I find if I want to read his word, I pray first, because I feel like he just reveals so much more, like when I pray and when I'm really, Father, I want to read your word, I want to understand your word, please open this up to me, please show me the truth, even if it's not what I like. I'd rather know your truth and know your truth now than for it to be the day of judgment and you say to me, depart from me, I never knew you. I think that's the scariest thing ever, and it's so terrifying. Even as believers, like as much as we love Abba, like we also need to have a fear and a reverence for him. You know, in Ecclesiastes, what is it? 12 to 13. Ecclesiastes, you know, that was written by Solomon, who of course was the wisest person in the world. You know, he said, fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. You know, fear God. You know, we should love him, but we should also fear him, and, well, not fear him, but more have reverence for him. But, you know, we should fear that even though if we are believers, even if we do believe in him, you know, if we're not doing what he asks, if we're not obedience is number one. You know, if we love him, you know, for this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not burdensome, you know, 1 John. If we love him, we will be obedient to him. And, you know, I feel like I should leave it there, actually. So I love you guys, and I pray that you guys pray and seek understanding and wisdom. You know, seek Abba while he's still to be found. We never know what's going to happen. I could die today. I really hope not, but, you know, we just don't know. So I've got to get back to preparations, because it's the Feast of Trumpets. Rosh Hashanah starts tonight, and I've got a lot of cooking to do. So I'm trying to be all housewifey, which is weird because it's weird for me to cook and stuff. So, but yeah, it's fun. Nice little challenges for all of us, you know, trying things new, and yeah, it's all fun. But yeah, I love you guys, and hopefully I can get this video uploaded as soon as possible. Hopefully. And hopefully I will see you guys very, very soon, okay? So I love you guys, and I will talk to you later, okay? Alright, bye.